Hello, everybody. Hopefully, I've gone live. I haven't had any technical issues. I'm Jackie Turner, the founder of Turner Corner Learning Solutions and Turner Corner Leadership Academy. Those of you that have been following me for some time will hopefully know that over around an 18-month period, I used to do service excellence LinkedIn live sessions. But as leaders play such a critical role in the service delivered by customers, I've decided to focus on leadership in 15 LinkedIn lives throughout the rest of this year. So I know you're all very busy, hence why they're going to be around 15 minutes. So I have got my clock in front of me. So that hopefully this won't take any longer than 15 minutes. So if you're joining me live at the moment, just pop a quick hello in the comments, which is always appreciated. And hopefully I'll be able to see those comments and of course welcome any questions as well. So the whole concept of leadership in 15 will be usually every couple of weeks, either myself or joined by a guest speaker. We'll be focusing on topics all related to leadership and very quick to the point so that you can go away after the 15 minutes and put some specific actions into place. But in this session, I'm going to focus on something I'm hugely passionate about, which is ensuring that training sticks within organizations. And I know, particularly in the last, probably, last 12 to 18 months, and certainly this year as well, budgets are often tight within companies, particularly within SME businesses, where I focus on helping SME businesses deliver great service. I know that budgets are so tight that it's really important if you're going to be investing in any training this year, whether that's through your internal training teams or working with a specialist trainer, that you want to get the best out of that training investment. Training should never be seen as a cost, because it always should be a training session that's going to stick within your organization and therefore save you lots and lots of money. Because if you get it right, then your customer service is going to be better, your complaints will go down, your reviews will go up, people will stay longer in your organization. So you are stopping the increased cost potentially. If your training doesn't stick, then customer complaints are likely to go up, customer reviews will go down, staff are likely to leave your organization because they don't feel they're getting the right sort of training investment. So any training that you invest in throughout the course of this year should save your business money, not cost your business money. But leaders play a critical role in making sure that that training sticks. You can't just expect a trainer to turn up and perform miracles because it just doesn't happen that way. So what are those critical steps that leaders can influence within an organization? So I'm going to use some, oh, hang on a second. Let me just go back because the slides are in the wrong place. Let's go back to the beginning, shall we? Right, so how can you ensure that your training sticks and that you get a very high return on your investment? So your training is a saving, not a cost. So the first thing is just think back to the last training session that you attended and ask yourself, how much of that information did you retain? How much can you currently remember? And how much should you put into action in terms of specific skills that you're still using? So if you've answered that question, not very much, about 10 to 20%, then you won't be alone. So there is something called the forgetting curve, and without reinforcement, learners typically will lose roughly 50% of any new information within the first hour after a training course. About 75% will be lost within one day and a whopping 90% within 1 week. So just think about how much you're investing in your business at the moment through training, and potentially only 10% of that is being retained. But with space training over days, weeks, and things such as quizzes, resources, refreshers, etc., then retention after weeks can comfortably exceed 60 to 80%. So we're talking about a considerable increase in the amount of information that's retained if you put the right actions into place. Let's talk about what happens in your organization before training even takes place. Now, I used to work in large corporate organizations. I've worked for Lloyds TSB, HSBC, Tesco, and I really learned how important conducting a thorough training needs analysis is. And even now, I really cringe when companies come to me and they say, oh, we just want off the shelf. If that's what they want, then, potentially look for another trainer. Because it's really important that a training is designed and bespoke towards that particular organisation and your staffing needs. So it's really crucial that a thorough training needs analysis is conducted with your internal trainers or with an external trainer. And therefore, any training is aligned with the business mission and objectives. And even in large organisations, it's not always done in this way. I used to sometimes get very frustrated as an internal trainer when I was trying to understand the link between what I was asked to design and deliver in terms of how that related to the business mission and business objectives. And why is that so important? Because when you do then deliver to staff, they need to understand the bigger picture. If people understand the full purpose of what they're being asked to do and the link to how that helps the organization, then you're more likely to influence your team members to put those skills into action on a long-term basis. Because when people get a strong sense of purpose beyond just I'm doing this particular job, that they see that purpose aligned to the business, it really does make a positive impact. So any training needs to be aligned to the business mission and objectives. And that link needs to be clear in terms of then the training session objectives. So whatever a trainer is asking the attendees of that course to put into action as a result of attending the training, they fully understand why. Pre-training's another action is, and again, this is critical, and I get so frustrated as a trainer when this hasn't happened. When people attend a training course and the first questions they're asking me is, why are they there? What are they expected to learn? They should already fully understand that before they step into a training session. That's not the trainer's job. So it's critical that team leaders carry out pre-course one-to-ones with their team members so that they can help the team members to understand the reason behind the training, but more importantly, they can get personal objectives from the team member to then link into the design and objectives of the training session, so that team members get a sense that they've played a crucial part in the design and content of that training, so that they're aligned not just to the business objectives, but they're aligned to the individual objectives. But also the team leader has an opportunity to then ask that person what it is that they specifically want to get out of that training. So that can then be linked to their action plans post-training. So that any training is then specifically designed for the outcomes for the business and the individuals, and therefore can be transferred into the workplace. So think about at the moment what steps you currently have within your organization. Are your team leaders always having those pre-course one-to-ones? And are senior leaders linking in with your training team to really align the mission, the business mission and business objectives? In terms of the training delivery, what works best? One-off courses do not have the impact long-term that you're probably expecting them to have. Learning should be a journey, not just a one-off. So if it's a one-day course, what comes after that training delivery? What comes in before it? So useful things such as pre-course reading or pre-course quizzes that team members can do. I tend to use Giraffe Pad with a lot of my clients so that I can engage and interact with people that are going to be attending my training before they've even attended the training course. And I can, set objectives, but I can also set any pre-course reading. So I'm preparing people before they come into the training. Then during the training, using active, not sort of, death by PowerPoint, but active, engaging, experiential methods. So again, if you've seen any of my posts, you know that I often work with one of my associate trainers who's also a trained actor. So real play rather than role play. Role play doesn't often work because people are trying to pretend to be somebody, unless they've got great acting skills, of course. But real play with trained actors really does help to embed the skills and gives people the opportunity to practice what they're learning in a safe, comfortable environment. But also thinking about what tools and resources are you providing during the training that can help team members to then refer to those resources to help with retention, but also after the training session as well. But even better, if you can deliver bite-sized learning over a period of time, then research and studies do show that that has a better retention. And that's why I launched my Leadership Academy back in September last year, so that I can provide those bite-sized sessions, but I can also provide the ongoing support and resources and guides and templates and tools on a daily basis to my members, so that not only am I delivering the training, but I'm there coaching, mentoring, and providing the ongoing support as well. The follow-up support is really, really important. So the training has happened. What happens next? So I mentioned earlier, are your team leaders currently having pre-training one-to-ones? But also, are they having post-training one-to-ones? So they can sit down with every individual in their team, put together an action plan. What are they going to focus on from the training, because nobody can focus on 3 or 4 things all in one go. So what's the starting place? Provide the coaching support. And when that particular skill is embedded, then what's the next thing that they want to take from the training? So it's not just a case of, right, you've done one particular thing, you've embedded one particular action, but actually there's potentially 3, 4, 5 things that person has learned from the training. So it's important then to look at what comes next. So that action plan should be actions in a specific order over a period of time. And that's then embedded through coaching support with the team leaders. So ring fencing coaching. When I worked in the Tesco Engagement Centre, they did that very, very well. They recognized the importance of coaching and ring-fenced a certain amount of coaching every single week, regardless of what else was happening in the organization. If you want people to keep doing what the changes that they've always done rather than go back to bad habits, celebrate their successes. As soon as you see small changes that people are embedding within the team, make sure you're giving them that recognition to show them that you've noticed that impact. You notice how the positive impact of that action has had on the team member and the customer, so that your team start to realize that actually it is noticeable to yourself, and they're getting that recognition. But again, don't just see training as the only solution and the only way to encourage people to get that training to stick long term. What refresher resources are you providing within the organization, such as guides, tools, regular quizzes? One thing that I did when I was in the Tesco Engagement Centre, I created a whole Inspiring Great Performance programme, and I went around the business afterwards creating quizzes, challenges for people with prizes that they could gain, for the best ways that they could show that they've embedded the training. And we got all the levels of leaders involved in that. So think about what your training teams can do post-training, but also what leaders can do to really, encourage and motivate and inspire people to keep embedding the skills they've learned during the training. So if you feel that leaders do not play much of a part in your organization in getting that high return on investment, it's down to your training team. I hope that I've convinced you to think again. Your training team are just one part of the puzzle, but every level of leader within your organization, I hope I've shown, has an impact in whether your investment in training turns out to be a saving for your business or whether it turns out to be a cost because it simply didn't stick, and therefore business costs are still increasing because complaints are still increasing, and attrition levels are not where you want them to be either. So hopefully during this just over 50 minutes, I provided some specific actions that you can put into place within your organization. I hope you found this beneficial. If you want to find out more about how I make training stick when it comes to leadership training through my Leadership Academy, of course, you can get in touch with me anytime on LinkedIn. If you're watching this on recording, I welcome your feedback. And again, if you want to get in touch via DM on LinkedIn with any questions afterwards, I welcome contact as well. So the next episode will be in a couple of weeks, and I will be joined by a fantastic guest. More about that to follow over the next couple of weeks. But I hope you've been able to join me live, and I'll see you again in a couple of weeks' time.